Looking around last night, I was trying to ask myself, what is the justification for each of these candidates? Vivek, I get it. Young, new blood, Trump young, Trumpy, but younger, more vibrant, next generation. That's how he wants us to perceive him, at least. Ron DeSantis, conservative, like traditional, but maybe not that traditional because he's different on Ukraine. He's different on a couple of things, but conservative fighter, right? Chris Christie, he's there to fight. Like he has to attack Trump. He's like there for the never Trumpers, the people who hate Donald Trump, who aren't necessarily never Trumpers, but just are very mad at Trump and not really inclined to vote for him. And I think Mike Pence has a role out there. I think Mike Pence is helping the country work out the conscience around January 6th. I think that it's kind of actually important, at least for last night's debate. He doesn't need to stay forever. But just to be reminded of what was at stake on that day and what was done to Mike Pence. And just to be reminded, it may not be a deal breaker for you at all. And I realize it's not for, some 70% of the Republican Party who's apparently either open-minded to or ready to vote for Trump. But we do need a little bit of closure, I think, on what happened with the Republican Party at the end of the 2020 election. Here was Pence providing a bit of that last night.
It's not about looking back at January 2021. It's about January 20th, 2017. I put my left hand on Ronald Reagan's Bible. I raised my right hand. And I took an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. And it ended with a prayer, so help me God. It was a promise that I made to the American people, but I also made it to my Heavenly Father. Every day for 4 years, I sought to keep that oath.
What do you make of it? And I think he and Nikki Haley are both there as a little bit more of the conservative, traditional Republican that we're used to, but only one of them is really necessary. Burgum's got to go. Ace has got to go. I think Tim Scott is going to go. I know you disagree, but I think it's over for him. But what do you make of it?
Well, I think it's profoundly important. And first off, I do think Mike Pence would make a terrific president. I don't think he's going to be president, but I think if you parachuted Mike Pence into the Oval Office right now, he would do an excellent job. That's one rationale for his running. But the main rationale, as you say, I'd put it a little bit differently. He's telling the truth about what happened in 2020. Trump lost the election. And Trump won't say that. And unfortunately, many of the other candidates won't say that either. DeSantis whiffed on it last night, disappointingly. And Pence does. He put it perfectly there. He took an oath to uphold the Constitution. He kept that oath. It is simply not true. As conservatives, we're supposed to believe what is true. It is simply not true that Mike Pence, even if he had wanted to, has some freestanding power to reverse Congress's ratification of the election process.
That's right.
Trump keeps saying otherwise. Trump has criticized Mike Pence for his refusal to do something that he could never do. And Mike Pence hears this from voters quite often, and I think has been admirable in calmly and politely and correctly pushing back at it. You need someone on the stage, preferably Mike Pence himself, but someone at least who is going to say that this is not how our system works, and that is not what happened in 2020. And that if we are going to spend our time relitigating the past instead of looking forward to the future, then we need to do so accurately. So I'm glad Mike Pence is out there saying that, mostly because it's true.
Yeah. They went down the line and asked, did Mike Pence do his duty on January 6th? And I think most of them said yes. Vivek did not answer. And Ron DeSantis was sort of pressed into saying, I got no problem with him. He did his duty. It was not a forceful defense of Pence, of course, because DeSantis is still, his game plan seems to still be somehow I will wrest the Trump supporters away from Trump, which leads me to the next thing that happened. They were asked if Trump is convicted on one of these in one of these cases, the 4 now that have been brought against him, will you commit to pardoning him? Now, we're going to show the video. So for the listening audience, I'll try to describe it. Vivek's hand shot way up. I mean, he truly is like the kid in class, the teacher's pet, like, pick me, pick me. DeSantis looks around and then barely raises his hand. Charlie, this is not a good look for DeSantis. And by the way, everybody else's hand went up. Chris Christie did raise his hand, but then seemed to kind of second guess it. Asa Hutchinson did not raise his hand, but everybody else, their hand went up. Not as high as Vivek, who's up here. DeSantis looks around and then raises his hand. And he's getting some flack for that. Like, pick a lane. Is it a yes or is it a no? What did you make of the moment?
Well, I think that this is closely tied to the conversation that you had with one of your previous guests about DeSantis's odd little smile. The best advice that I think anyone could give Ron DeSantis right now is you've got nothing to lose, be yourself. Foibles included, flaws included. Ron DeSantis is a very intelligent man who is clearly irritated by a lot of the machinations that he has to go through as a political candidate. Now, some of those have to do with Donald Trump, and I empathize with them greatly. There is so much nonsense that Republican politicians and other prominent conservatives have to put up with because of the cult of personality around Donald Trump. Some of that, though, is just normal politics. DeSantis does not have the affect that our most electorally successful politicians tends to have. He does not have that Reaganite affect. He doesn't have Bill Clinton's love of people. He doesn't have Barack Obama's charisma. He has his own thing, and if he's going to become president, then it will be on the back of that own thing. It will be on the back of his saying, look, I am a middle-class kid from Tampa who became the governor of Florida, did a really terrific job at it, bucked the conventional wisdom. Now I'm running for president to deliver for you. I'm not saying, Megyn, that's going to work. I think at the moment it looks like it's not. But if he's going to get there, he's going to have to be Ron DeSantis. And that moment that you just showed is another good example of him trying to work out what is expected of him rather than going with his gut. So is the little smile, so is so much of the campaign strategy that he's exhibited thus far. And he's getting caught in the middle as a result. Either you put up your hand like Vivek and you just commit to the part. You're a phony, you're proud of it, you know what is expected of you in the audience and at home, so you just do it. Or you leave your hand down. Yeah, or or an enthusiastic phony anyway. Or you leave your hand down and you deal with the consequences. When you're asked about it the next day, you say, you know what? My job is not to play Donald Trump's lawyer. My job is not to get into the Oval Office and immediately contemplate whether or not I will use the pardon power to help the last guy. Here are the things that I'm running for. I'm not saying that would be a good strategy. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that he's caught in the middle, and you can see it over and over again. When he made that emphatic statement and then tried to do the little smile, he was caught between who he actually is, which is a guy who likes to machine gun the opposition and then get things done, and who he's been told he should be, which is a politician who smiles at people and has a softer side. And I don't believe, I don't believe it as a general matter that getting caught in the middle of who you are and who you're supposed to be works out for people. But I don't believe specifically that DeSantis is capable of doing it. I don't think that what we have seen thus far suggests that he is going to be able to run as a hybrid. I just think at this point, he has to take off the gloves and do what he actually wants to do and be who he actually wants to be and see how it plays out.
All right, I'll say this in defense of Ron DeSantis. I don't know whether this is true, but this was after the moment where he objected to the whole hand-raising nonsense. So it is possible It was very good. Actually, we'll play
That
it
was
so the
good.
audience knows what we're talking about. This is SOT 3.
Human behavior is causing climate change. Raise your hand if you do.
Look, we're not school children. Let's have the debate. I mean, I'm happy to take it to start. Alexander, so do you want to raise your hand or not? I don't think that's the way to do. So let me just say to Alexander this.
So that was good. He was like, I'm
That's great.
not raising my hand. This is nonsense. Let's just talk about it. We're adults. And the second question, raise your hand if you will commit to pardoning Trump or whatever it was if he gets convicted, came after he said, we're not doing the hand raising thing. So it is possible that he was basically like, aren't we done with the hand raising nonsense? Whatever. Either way, you have to lead your own course. That would have been a good time for him to grab the lectern and say, as I already told you, we're not doing that. Move on. National security experts are warning our aging power grid is more vulnerable than ever. January marked the third time a power station in North Carolina was damaged by gunfire recently. Authorities are now checking our grid for vulnerabilities. Imagine having a blackout lasting not days but weeks or months. Your life would be frozen in time right at the moment the power fails. That's why having your own solar power is more important than ever. Listen to this. With the Patriot Power Generator, you get a solar generator that does not install into your house because it's portable. You can take it with you, even use it inside, but it's powerful enough for your phones, your medical devices, even your fridge. And right now, you can go to 4patriots.com and use the code MK to get 10% off your first purchase on anything in the store, including the Patriot Power Generator. You will also get their famous guarantee for an entire year after your order, plus free shipping on orders over $97. And a portion of every sale is donated to charities that support our veterans and their families. Just go to 4patriots.com and use code MK to get 10% off your order. 4patriots.com, use code MK to get yours today. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.